Leaders, we need to talk about AI.
AI is already in the workforce.
Influence of AI right now is really taking all the air out of the room.
AI will increasingly replace repetitive jobs.
It's crossed the threshold. It is here to stay whether we like it or not. Like Nickelback. No matter how good or bad you think it is, people still keep showing up for the concert.
I've been bullshitting for 27 years.
But from a manager's level, how can it be used most effectively? Not just to cut costs or supercharge our productivity, but to supplement our already solid leadership foundation, person to person, human to human. It's still definitely early in the new world of artificial intelligence. Now, some companies have bought in entirely. They're delaying hiring or anticipating layoffs because of the new promises of an artificial intelligence world. But I don't think we should be all in quite yet. I do know this one thing to be true though. Managers using AI will quickly outpace managers who don't. So it's important you get up to speed quickly and in the right way. Real quick, my name is David Burkus and I study high-performing teams and work with leaders to build their best team ever. If that sounds like what you need as a leader, then make sure you're subscribed to this channel, and even better, subscribe to our totally free email newsletter, link in the description below. All right, let's get into it. They say a great actor can bring a C+ movie script up to a B+ or even an A if they're really good. But a C+ actor and a C+ movie script, you know you're getting a C+ movie. And the same goes for AI and managers. You need to be a great leader before you start implementing artificial intelligence. AI will not take a mediocre manager and suddenly turn them into a great boss. It's not a miracle machine. The truth is, you need your foundations as a manager really solid first. AI is a great supplement to what you're already doing as a great manager. And by the way, if you want to get those foundations a bit more solid, we've got some materials. It's tempting, although I hope it's not, to grab an AI productivity tool, plug it into your team's systems, and use it to virtually monitor your employees. You know, digitally look over your team's shoulder to check that they're really working. I've already heard dozens of stories of companies doing this. Horror stories, really, because it's not a good look for the company and it deeply hurts morale. As I like to tell a lot of different leaders, if you need a technology tool to believe that your people are working when you can't see them, you screwed up a long time ago, like back when you hired them. And the current research on this isn't in AI's favor. If AI is used to collect and analyze data about individual performance, then 8 out of 10 employees say that it will most likely make them feel inappropriately watched. In addition, a majority of workers say that the data collected about them would be inappropriately used. AI is really good at turning anything and everything into a metric, and some things are made metric more easily than others. Number of sales calls is an easy metric. Time spent in the office is an easy metric. Messages on Slack is an easy metric. How often you move your mouse is an easy and also terrifying metric. But just because you have easy numbers to be pulling on your team doesn't mean they're the right metrics to be pulling. You can install apps that just click your mouse every couple of seconds for you. So are you sure you want to use those numbers? Because management is about people, not just metrics. How you give your people feedback is important. How you support and resource your people is important. How you inspire your team and be transparent is important. But if you monitor your team endlessly and your team knows you've outsourced the process to AI, it creates distance between you and them, a distance that's going to keep you from being able to do those important tasks. And that ultimately works against you as a leader. People don't want to work with leaders that feel far away from them, far away from reality. There's some interesting data from Deloitte on AI that came out this spring. Organizations reporting very high generative AI expertise expect to change their talent strategies faster than the norm, with 32% already making changes. What does this mean? Well, according to their findings, a lot of companies are already making changes to their workflows and updating their apps to incorporate AI at different steps in the process. You've already experienced this. This is tools like Google or Microsoft or whatever your company uses, plugging in AI to assist with things like writing emails or responding faster to chats. Another big focus is going to be on AI fluency. Deloitte recently found that 47% of leaders are dedicating time towards learning about AI. That means managers who learn AI early and stay informed about it as it develops are going to be the best equipped to lead their teams going forward. It's up to you to stay current. One person Deloitte talked to about adopting AI said the explainability piece is really holding us back right now. Once we get a better handle on that, I think we will really be able to accelerate our adoption. You need to understand what the technology is, how it's being used, and how it's helping your clients, stakeholders, the greater public, whoever. Saying you just type some words into a text box and out came some more words, it's not a good look. It's not a good look for you either. It makes it look like you think the whole thing's just magic. It's not magic, it's just code. This one comes from my friend Dan Chaparkov, an AI and management expert. Middle managers spend a lot of time, arguably too much time, sending progress reports up the chain to the C-suite and then sending marching orders back down to the bottom. And there's a fair amount of investigating to figure out where things really stand and talking to way too many people to make sure that you've got the accurate information. You know what this is, it's a time slog. You've been there before. There are a bunch of AI tools that just take notes. Notes from meetings, notes from client calls. They take the transcript and they boil it down to key takeaways, action items, even attendance, who was on the call. And these tools just keep getting better. So instead of A, asking some poor soul to have to take notes the entire meeting, or B, using the whiteboard or the chat tool to try and capture key ideas and then just have them evaporate when the meeting ends, you've got a tool that's creating a searchable database of all the key takeaways from every meeting your team has. You can even get new hires or new team members up to speed because they now have access to what happened in meetings that happened before they were a part of the team. Here's the situation. You run a small team and maybe you have a few new hires. And the early days of any new hire are kind of filled with the same clerical questions. Who's the point person for this? How do I contact HR? What's our remote work policy again? These questions are fine, they're valid questions. And onboarding takes time, but that's kind of the problem. These are perfectly acceptable questions to ask, but answering them takes time.
This is where a chatbot comes in handy. It can offload all those tasks and save precious time.
Now, this shouldn't subtract from the amount of time you spend with new hires. It just subtracts the low-stakes conversations you used to have with them and leaves more time for high-level conversations. More coaching, more feedback, more mentoring, more talking about their progress and the team's goals. More of the stuff that made you want to be a manager in the first place. Being in a leadership role requires decisive decisions. I mean, sure, you talk to people, you do your research, you solicit lots of different opinions, but at the end of the day, it's on you to make the decision. A decision you make alone with your thoughts most of the time. A decision that comes with a lot of pressure to get it right. How do you make sure you're making the right one? Instead of making the simple pros and cons list, what if you were totally alone in that decision? What if you had a brainstorming partner or even someone to get feedback from? That can be a great use of that AI tool. You can even scale this out to teams. I'm a huge fan of having task-focused conflict on a team, but a lot of teams can't deal with keeping conflict task-focused. It gets personal and personal conflict derails it. So what if you outsource the conflict to an AI tool? What if you took the team's decision or even where they were leaning towards and you fed it into that AI tool and said, tell us all the reasons this idea would fail, or say, this is what we're gonna do. If you're our competitor, how do you respond? That way, instead of always relying on Ned to be the negative devil's advocate, you've got how. What I'm really saying is use AI the way stand-up comedians use the 1 a.m. slot at their local comedy club. You're just testing stuff out, seeing what works and what gets you booed off the stage. One last warning before we wrap up. I know it's exciting to play around with all of these different tools, but check with your human resource department, legal, senior management, and IT to make sure they haven't already put some boundaries in place around who and how these AI tools can be used. There's a couple different reasons for this. One is just licensing. Yeah, a lot of these tools are in beta or charge a small fee, but there may be some legal ramifications around who actually holds the licenses to it. You want clarity on that. The bigger reason, data. Your company might not be comfortable with you putting all sorts of trade secrets or company information, even things like meeting minutes, into a tool that now has the right in the terms of service to use that data however they want. So before you get too far, just check in and make sure you know what the boundaries of the sandbox are. And then you can go play. Artificial intelligence is just getting started in the workplace. And if you're a manager who's experimenting with these tools, make sure you acknowledge to your team that it's all just an experiment. We're very far from corporate policies and norms around AI. We're just getting our hands dirty and seeing what could be. But ultimately remember this, that AI tools are going to be a supplement to what makes individuals, teams, and leaders successful in the workplace, which is focusing on that human element. AI is not going to replace a great leader, but it might make them even greater. If you're looking to lead smarter, then subscribe to my channel right here for more helpful insights just like this. And if you've got a question or a problem, leave a comment below. I'm here and this channel is here to help you build your best team ever.